Boom, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of UGUE Brothers Vlogs. This is actually another episode for my Real Talk series. This is actually a series that I thoroughly enjoy. And if you've been with us on this particular channel any length of time, you know this is actually some of the first things that I really tried to do on this channel. Was these sort of open forum kind of discussions where I talk about things in my life. I talk about things that I'm going through. I talk about struggles. I talk about, stuff that I think about, stuff that's on my mind. Because I thought it'd be a way to sort of help people engage, understand us, maybe even garner some things that might help you in your lives. It's funny. I think even though we've talked a lot about this on the main channel as well, we haven't done it as much over the last couple of years. And if you've been with us any length of time, some of you have, especially if you're on the main channel, you've been with us since the beginning. You've seen a lot of this stuff where we've discussed a lot of stuff about ourselves, particularly things that causes a great deal of pain, heartache, trouble. And despite what kind of negativity happens to be out there about that, it's not about sympathy. It's never been about sympathy. That kind of thing doesn't really help us. We did that in a lot of ways, not only to connect with those issues and deal with them in a lot of ways, but also embolden people with similar struggles or just struggles in general to do the same, to open up, to share, to start working through things. Because it has been my mission over these last 4 years that we've been doing this to change my life, to fix a lot of things, to right a lot of wrongs that have been in my life. There's a lot behind doing this, which I know for some people it may be difficult to wrap your head around, because we're in this world of social media, we're in this world of YouTube, content creating and entertainment and all that good stuff, and I get it. But there's a lot of things behind Urban Ghost if you take the time to just dive a little deeper. And I wanted to take the time to talk about that on this particular episode of our Real Talk series. And not only to do that, but also for people who are kind of new, to understand us a little better. And I think that's important. So you don't really get us wrong. I mean, it'll still happen, I'm sure. But even though we've discussed a lot of these things, we've done so much content over the last 4 years that stuff unfortunately gets lost. And it is too much to ask for people to dive that deep in some cases. And so, yeah, that stuff gets forgotten, that stuff gets lost. And then people look at what we have now and they miss the bigger picture. And so when we say certain things or do certain things, as far as we're concerned, we do that for a specific reason. And it may be misunderstood because you don't really understand what's behind it. So I wanted to take a few moments to talk about that. And I thought it'd be fun. And we also get a ton of questions about that. And I figured, because it's sad to say, this is impossible for us to respond to everyone. All the emails and the DMs and comments and everything else. There's simply just too many. I do my best to do what I can, but sadly it's just never really going to be enough. There's just not enough time in the day to respond to everyone. So when I get a large group of questions, I thought it'd be kind of fun to also use that in this forum to talk about that globally, because if you have certain questions, I'm sure other people have those same questions. So I'm sure you have flashbacks of hearing that in school, but yeah, I mean, that applies here. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to discuss that. That way everybody sort of gets those questions answered if we see them. So, and plus it's just fun for me. So Wow, 4 years. 4 years. So let me start with just a little bit of just the general history of urban ghosts. Okay, Joe's talked about this a little bit in some live streams. We've talked about it on a lot of different things, like I said, but many of you may have missed that. So I'll take a few moments to just talk about some of the general history of urban ghosts and where we started. So Joe and I, we worked together for a really long time before this. We worked for a bank, like a call center situation, and wasn't great. Not happy with that situation. Not working with each other, but working at these jobs. I had known Joe for many years. We'd been friends for many years before we started YouTube, and we started YouTube together. It was my dream. It was my passion. For some reason, I had this absolute obsession for just, I can't even remember how long, year, 2 years, just straight. That's all I talked about. That's all I discussed. I went around to so many people to try to get them to do it with me, explaining what we were going to do and trying to get into it. It's crazy. And Joe was, quite frankly, the only person that ever just said, yeah, let's do it. So rewind a little bit further. And I'm going to talk a little bit about something in my life that sort of brought me to where I am today. I'm not going to go into too much detail, unfortunately, because it's not really the easiest thing for me to discuss. And I think that would be better suited discussing that in a different video, without me, losing my mind on camera for this particular video. And I'll get sidetracked. Ugh. Well, the short and the sweet is that I hit a wall in my life. A giant, sizable, massive wall. And I fell into a massive pit where I lost everything. Everything that mattered to me, everything I cared about, my whole world, a huge piece of me, a huge part of me was just taken, ripped away. And I was lost, and I was drifting. I was simply just existing. And I think a lot of you guys out there can relate in your situation. And I see it more and more in this day and age, where I find that people are lost. And I was lost. I was drowning in just nothingness. A level of loneliness that just is indescribable of words. And it was bad. It was a bad place. My home was no longer home. It's just an empty shell of an apartment. And my family was gone. And it is something I still deal with today, as that's something I deal with every single day. And it is something that I would not wish on my worst enemy. So, anyway, I'm not really sure what clicked in my mind. But one day I just happened to be watching YouTube. And it's not like I hadn't watched YouTube before. It's something that's been around for a while. I was just watching a lot of content through my PS2 at the time, because I didn't have cable. And I watched a lot of YouTube, and I started following a lot of daily vloggers in the fitness industry, among other things. And something just clicked. It just happened. Just light bulb moment. And it became something in my mind that I could not let go. And the more I discussed it, the more people looked at it like it was a joke. You know, like in the movies and TV shows where like the kids want to be in a rock band, they start a rock band in the garage, and or like the athlete who just wants to go pro, and everyone around them basically just doubts them and thinks that's ridiculous, that it's just a pipe dream. It was like that. Everyone thought it was a joke. If they didn't think it was a joke, they thought it was literally impossible to ever find success on the platform. But I had been doing so much research into just social media in general after that. Statistics, probability of platforms like this growing. And I had done TV and film in high school. I was in a television and film magnet in high school. So I had experience working with cameras, editing videos, doing large-scale projects. We had a studio like in this building where we would do morning announcements as if we were like running a full-scale news show. It was a big kind of really cool thing. Studied film and television and different things, like, you know. And so I had some experience. I just never in a million years would I've ever thought at any point in time that I would ever be using that today, because I was actually going to college for engineering. I was going for mechanical and aerospace engineering, and I had put that on hold for my family, as well as it became something that I just didn't feel right. And you know, like, I don't know if you guys have ever had this experience, but when I was in high school, I became just overwhelmed with this feeling that there was something that I was meant for. That there was something that I needed to do. Something that I needed to accomplish. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out what it was. And I don't know if that's just something everybody goes through. It's not something that I particularly discuss very often. Pretty much never, actually. And that came back to me after starting this, which is really kind of interesting. I kind of had forgotten about that, and it had come back to me shortly after starting to do this, because that feeling of being in the place where I'm supposed to be, which I'll get to that in a second. But so fast forward a little bit, and Joe and I were on the same team in a particular department. We eventually started moving through the company, I guess, because, you know, as many, you know, call centers, if you've ever worked in those kind of fields or in an office, departments, they change, they close, they shrink, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You move around. And we ended up being in the same department. Well, Joe, as I said before, we had been friends for quite a while, and we became closer friends while we were working in this department, and we really connected in a lot of ways. Now, what I just shared with you is something that I don't really discuss a lot with anybody, simply because it is extremely hard for me to deal with it. Well, he knew about it. We had discussed it, we had talked about it. And I'd begun to get to a point financially where it was getting tough, you know. And I think I talked about this on a recent live stream, actually, where I needed a place to go. I needed to figure out where to move. I needed to save some money. Well, Joe was actually going through a similar situation that I was going through, where he was hitting rock bottom. Nothing was going right. Dealing with significant loss and a lot of pain. And I'll leave it at that. I'll let him share what he would like to share. And I think he has on a lot of the real talks and stuff. Anyway, but I would like to leave that for him because that is uniquely personal and I don't want to mess that up. So he offered me a place to stay, and it wasn't something I was going to do. I was just going to make it work. I was going to find something, but it got to a point where I had no choice. And we started talking about YouTube anyway, and he was definitely gung-ho about it. He, like me, unfortunately, to deal with our job because we were sort of escalations and stuff. It was just tough. We watched a lot of YouTube videos and stuff like that, and so he was definitely game, and you guys know Joe. He's very gung-ho, and when he sets his mind to something, he just goes. Not a whole lot will stand in his way if that's what he wants to do. And that's something I needed in my life, because if you know anything about me, I think too dang much. I'm an introvert by nature, very logic-minded, and I like to think things through. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why it took me so long just to even start, even getting ready to do YouTube before I even really made my first video. And so anyway, I'm sort of actually reminiscing myself at this point, enjoying the ride through memory lane, in my own mind right now. Anyway, moved in, and that Christmas, my dad got me a camera. It was a GoPro. I think it was like a Hero 7. Because I had told him that I was interested in making videos and interested in doing YouTube. Of course, at the time, even my dad just considered that as sort of a hobby, that I just sort of wanted to make videos, and it was just something sort of interesting to do at the time. I don't think he really considered it as what was eventually going to be like a career, but in my mind, I wanted to go as far as I could go because I wanted so badly to emulate what I saw on YouTube where other people were successful, and there was reasons behind that, of course, and which I'll get to that in a second, but just to sort of close off that history, okay? That January, I had gotten back from my trip to my parents. I said, hey, got a camera. In that January, Joe was like, hey, let's just make a video. I got this place. Now, we had made an attempt at doing fitness stuff, workout stuff. And that was sort of our test run because I didn't have a ton of experience since high school doing any of that. And we didn't really have the tech for it. And just, we weren't really comfortable on camera. Which is funny. Any of you guys ever try to speak long form into a camera? For the first little while, it is weird. You don't really know what to do with your hands. It's not natural. Feels funky because what you guys see is me talking to you. What I'm seeing is this basically mechanical eyeball staring me in the face, and I'm talking to it. Essentially talking to myself, recording it, basically. Well, we tried it and put a lot of music in it. Didn't really understand how all that worked. I knew briefly that you needed royalty-free stuff, but didn't know where to find it or get it at the time. I didn't know where to get like really good editing software that was like cheap or free. So I ended up going with like Windows Movie Maker, which I don't even think they really make anymore. It's just awful. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if you just need something free and you don't have like an iPhone or a Mac or something that comes with like iMovie or something, it'll work. But it's extremely limited. Anyway, I'm getting off topic, but and I was working on this laptop. It was like a $500 laptop that I had for a while that just couldn't handle anything. And it was just awkward as heck. And it got flagged for music, and it was just weird. I mean, it was fun to make, but it just was weird. And I'd like to do those things again, because a lot of you guys have questions all the time about how Joe and I like lost weight, achieved those goals and stuff, which I want to do on here. I just have a goal in my mind before I really start discussing that more. But again, I'm getting off topic. But Joe mentioned urban exploration, urbex, something that he liked to watch, he enjoyed watching, and at the time it was actually really, really big, and it is getting that way now. But essentially exploring abandoned places, which I thought was really, really cool. I never even just thought about that, to be honest with you, as a thing. I never watched that stuff on YouTube, but when he was showing it to me, I was like, this is really, really freaking cool, man. And he found the primate sanctuary. It was like our very, very first video on this channel, or on the main channel, exploring the Hearth Primate Sanctuary, which is not really there anymore. Somebody bought it. There's parts of it still there, but somebody purchased that property, and you can't go there anymore. But still, the video was ridiculous. I mean, we had a lot of fun doing it, but it was awkward. It was so awkward, so weird. We used a lot of music for the first few videos, trying to make things a little artsy, trying to get creative with transitions, and didn't really know what to say. We didn't talk a lot, so I had to fill a lot of it with music anyway. Like, I wasn't talking. I tried at the end of that video to say something. It was so, it was fine. It worked. It just was like, oh God, you could tell that, like, it was so awkward. Like, couple places in there where Joe was saying something, it was super awkward. He used to like be very, very blocky and like do one of these things and like say, come on a journey and stuff, which is something that I laugh about all the time. But it was weird. But ultimately, it was the best freaking decision I ever made. I was nervous, but I was excited. And I stayed up all night editing that video. I plugged that dinky laptop into my television, and I used that as a monitor, and I edited that all night. I was so excited. And we started getting hits, and we started progressively doing more and more videos. And I remember the first time I ever saw, because back then you could monetize immediately. That has changed now. But back then you could monetize immediately. Not that it really mattered, because you really don't make anything, but I remember seeing in AdSense, I remember seeing 10 cents sitting there. And that was like, it might as well have been $1 million. Because that was sort of evidence to me that this is working. And this was going to go somewhere. And it really just got me just so, so excited. Not long after we made that video, and this is sort of what is behind Urban Ghosts. And Urban Ghost was the name, Urban Ghost Urban Exploration. Yes, it's wordy, I know. But Urban Ghost really is the name. Urban Exploration is the addition to that name. But it's like a subtitle. I remember sitting at work with a piece of paper, thinking up names for this channel. What the name means to us. And I've seen a lot of weirdness on the internet in terms of where the name came from, and people claimed it changed over time. No. Day one of that channel, Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration was the name. And it was Urban Ghosts, not because we ever even remotely considered doing paranormal content, because we never did. I never wanted to do that. Urban Exploration was going to be that thing that we did. Paranormal just wasn't even in the cards. So urban ghost, urban exploration is actually, what it means is Joe and I taking the time to basically seek out the ghosts in our own lives. And we've talked about that before, but the ghosts in our own lives, the memories, the good memories, the bad memories, everything that just is weighing us down in terms of the troubles that we've been dealing with. That's where that comes from. Because we feel that we are surrounded by that always. It's something that we deal with pretty regular. And that's what that means. That's where that comes from, urban ghosts. Urban from urban exploration, but urban ghosts. And I remember sitting outside on the porch a couple days after we really were started filming these videos, discussing what this channel was going to be about. At the time, and I still do this today, I was following a lot of the just top tier entrepreneurs and speakers, motivational speakers, all those people. And I've put a lot of that stuff out on social and stories and things. I've discussed a lot of that on these videos, and it's something that's very important to me. But the Zig Ziglars, Tony Robbins, the Maxwells, Les Browns, all those people, David Goggins, all those people. And they all kind of had something similar in common. If you wanted to be successful in business, you had to lead with something. There has to be a reason. You have a purpose. You want to fix something, right? You want to give people something to help them. And you lead with your heart. And that's the absolute best way to be extremely successful. And I mean, at least in my opinion, I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but in my opinion, that's the absolute best way to guarantee that you'll find happiness and success. Because the money and stuff that comes with that, depending on what you're doing, that comes with that. It comes with the territory, right? And so we were sitting outside on the porch and we were discussing what we really wanted. And Joe and I were on the same page where we wanted to essentially give back. See, not too long ago, while I was doing engineering in college, I had a secondary sort of minor, major, I don't even know at this point, but where I was studying religion. And not just Christianity, but multiple religions. And it's something that always fascinated me. Philosophy, religion, all that stuff. Really fascinated me. And I seriously considered going to seminary school. And I didn't do that because I had my own issues with just brick and mortar organized religion. Which is not something I'll discuss on here. It's my own personal thing. But I wanted to do something like that, where I could be a pastor or something like that, but in a different way, using my own medium. So we had discussed bringing that to the forefront, bringing us out there, and not only to bring that out to help people like yourselves watching this video, but help us get through these things that we're dealing with, get through life. But also, in many ways, it's the only way we can really share this kind of thing with our kids. And in my case, that was extremely important because that's all I had. That's all I have. And it's tough, but it was extremely important. Now, I had somebody in my life, I had multiple people in my life that did that for me, and I didn't really have the full appreciation of what that meant until now. Continuing to share what I had, because I know many people don't. Many people are not that lucky. They do not have people in their lives, friends, companions, partners, family members that will have your back, that will give you good advice, that will be there for you. And that's one thing that I think is contributing a lot to the pain in the world today. And I always wanted to share that part of me and what was provided to me to the world. This is my way of helping people. And I see it all the time in the comments. The comments saying that we helped you guys get through a tough time. The comments saying we got you through a hospital stay. Or, the motivation or inspiration, that we gave you guys to start your own channels or start your own job or start your own business or just go after what you wanted. Like, that's why we do what we do. And that's why I say, I'm not a paranormal investigator. Joe's not a paranormal investigator. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, this doesn't matter to me. Okay? And I've said that before, and I think maybe some people got that wrong. It's not that I don't care what you think. It's just that's not the point behind what I'm doing here. It's not the point behind this channel. So the paranormal stuff, the urbex stuff, the cooking, yeah, that has that value on the surface. And it has that entertainment value on the surface. But it's just what's behind it that matters the most. It's what we're trying to do that matters the most. I couldn't care less about fame. I'm an introvert. I have social anxiety. I don't care about fame in the least. I think a lot of people get wrapped up into this kind of world thinking that fame and money and all this stuff, notoriety, success, blah, 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 whatever, is somehow going to make everything better. The truth is fame is a lot more than it's cracked up to be honest. It's a lot more trouble sometimes than it's worth. It's necessary for what I intend to do with it. And that's the route I took. It's very strange that a person like me would get into something like this. It's very out of the ordinary for me. Some of you have even seen me at meetups and things, and it's hard for me to deal with those situations. Sometimes I have to step away. It's just who I am. It's in my nature. I don't do small talk. It's not my jam. It's not what I'm good at. But long form discussion, I can do that. I can talk about things that I'm passionate about. So I've been talking for a while. That's basically the short and sweet of what's behind what we do. Like, this is our way of connecting with our kids. It's my way of connecting with my little boy that I don't get to see, that I don't know where he is. It's my way of putting something out there and showing people that it can be done, that it is possible, that you can be something in this world today, that you could do something, because I did it. And I'm not just some lucky person, special person. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. We didn't have millions of dollars and then just decided to do YouTube. None of that. And we're just two regular guys that worked at a call center, barely making ends meet, with our lives that fell apart, who decided to change. Decided to say enough is enough. Decided to go find happiness, decided to find their dreams, and decided to do something that's so outlandishly outside the box that we were confronted with nothing but negativity and doubt. And now we're here. And that's what I want to do, guys. That's what's behind our content. That's what's behind our brand. That's what all of this means to me. It's my opportunity to be on camera and make you guys laugh and take you through all the entertaining aspects and all that good stuff. And that's great. Give you a break from life. Give you a break from the world. But give you something else. Even if it's little by little in the video. Just that little thought in your mind that it's possible. It's possible. You can follow your dreams. You can follow your passions. You have to be realistic. You have to understand that it may not work. But you should go. You should do it. You should go after it. And hopefully, hopefully that kind of sums it up. There's a lot more to it, I'm sure, but hopefully that at least gives you something to try to understand who we are, who I am, why we do this. It's not about the scary places. It's not about the ghosts. It's not about the cooking stuff. It's not about any of the other content that we do. It's not. It's our journey that we're going through to make our own lives better, to fix ourselves, to improve things, to connect with our kids, to show them that anything's possible, even if it's outside the box and crazy. And it's our way of helping you guys do the same. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. I love doing this. I love making videos. I love all the tech. I love the mics and the cameras and the lights and all that stuff. I like going on the trips. I love going on the trips. I love seeing cool new abandoned places. I just love it all. I do enjoy interacting even with you guys directly in messages and all that good stuff, even though it's just simply not a thing we can do anymore at this point. I still try because I enjoy it. And, and that's true. That's just, it's love, man. This is something I love to do. And I'm never going to stop. It doesn't really matter how far this channel goes or what happens within the future. I mean, I would hope that it continues to grow. I think it will. You guys have been awesome. But at the same time, I'm going to do this regardless because that's how much I love. And that's how much it means to me to do what I do. Thank you guys so much for all the support over the years. Thanks so much for continuing to support us. The growth has been amazing on both channels. And I aim to change a lot of things. Joe aims to change a lot of things going forward to make everything for you better, more entertaining, better visuals with camera equipment, better audio with like mics and things. Taking all of the feedback into consideration and making everything much better going forward. It's been my mission every year to continue to get better. We've managed to do that, I think. And I want to continue to do that. It's just, like I said, I love doing this. And I love everything about it. And Joe loves doing this. And, he's up on a trip right now. But comment down below, of course. Let me know what you think about videos like this. And I'll see about doing some more of these more often. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I'm going to try to use this series to even answer a lot of you guys' questions and things like that as well, because I think that'll just be fun. And also my way of interacting with all of you that have all those questions in sort of a bigger form, since I don't really get a chance to necessarily respond to each and every one of you, but I can guarantee that if one of you has a question, I'm sure a lot of you have those questions, so I think it'd be cool. I think we're probably going to start doing a lot more live streams. We have been doing a lot more live streams lately, something that we gave up a while back for a lot of different reasons, one of which was tech, and we fixed that problem. We're going to do a lot of traveling. Very, very big things happening. Of course, this year, we are thinking about moving and really shifting everything to a different place and opening up new opportunities for new content on both channels. And I think it's all going to be really, really cool. I'm really excited about it. I'm really nervous about it. But I think it'll be a good thing. And yeah. I wanted to do this video for quite a while. I want to do another talk, of course, for quite a while. I did one not too long ago that wasn't exactly planned, but it just kind of came out. That's usually how these talks usually go, because I don't script these. I usually think up an idea at some point randomly doing something else, and I just have to talk about it, and that's when these sort of come up. It's It's weird how it works, but it's just how it works. But I enjoy doing them. Certainly would like to, and again, it's sort of a much more direct way of me discussing certain topics, and instead of having them underlying in a lot of the content, it's just much more direct, and I like that sometimes, and I think it's really, really cool. But guys, it's been a fantastic ride. It's been a fantastic journey. I've learned so much over the last 4 years about all of this and doing this, but also about myself, taking a deep dive and into this world. And if you are considering doing YouTube, I will say this: a lot of people reach out and say they're interested, and that's fantastic. I think everybody who's interested in doing anything on social platforms such as YouTube or TikTok or doing photography on social media, Instagram, etc., etc., etc. There will continue to be more platforms and things opening up, I'm sure, but this is a world that is gradually shifting into a creative space, and bringing that creative space down to amateur beginner levels, which I think is fantastic. Things are becoming less expensive, easier to use, and more accessible to everybody, and I think that's really, really awesome. So I might even start talking a lot about technology and things that we use and things that I would suggest. And I built this computer to do a lot more of this stuff. I think it'd be cool to discuss that. I think that would help a lot of you guys out that are interested in doing stuff like this, not necessarily in this space, but in any creative space. And I just think it's really, really awesome. And I will say that if you are going to do it, be patient. Be patient. Stick with it. Be realistic. If it's not for everybody, but you should at least try. If something you want to do and you're interested in doing, you should try it, because I did that 4 years ago, and it's the best decision I ever made. Seriously. One of the best decisions I ever made. It's definitely top on the list, but I wouldn't change that for anything. I mean, it's been crazy, and it's hard for me to even wrap my own head around that we went from just a GoPro and a dream to where we are now. It's pretty unreal. And it's just absolute proof that it can be done. It can be done. Anybody can do it, I think. Anybody can figure out what their talents are, and they can make it work. They can, because I did it, and I'm still doing it every single day, and hopefully inspiring every one of you to do the same, because it's worth it. It's not easy. It's not easy. It really is not easy. It is hard. There is a reason why not everybody is successful. Not everybody wins. There's a reason, and that's because life is hard. Stuff like this is hard, and anything that's worth doing absolutely is difficult. But it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. Anyway, guys, I love each and every one of you. I really do. I know some of you, because there's so many subs and stuff, you may feel like you're not appreciated. And quite frankly, it's just not true. I know that we haven't done the best of jobs over the last 4 years putting that out there. And I'm trying to think of ways to sort of give back a lot more this year for that very reason. I want to do better. I want to do more for you guys, because honestly, if it wasn't for all of you supporting us all these years, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this, and that means the world. It really, really does. It really means the world. It's crazy that there's people who want to watch us. That's just unreal. But I'm very, very thankful. I'm very blessed. And it's something that's always on my mind for sure. And I definitely want to do more for you guys for that very reason. And maybe if you guys have some ideas, things you guys seen, YouTubers and things that you guys support and follow do as well that you might be interested in us trying, let us know. Shoot us the feedback. And it's always appreciated. It's funny how much of where this channel has gone over the years has come from you guys. It really has. We take feedback seriously. And although we may not necessarily act on all of the feedback, it's all taken into consideration. And it's very, very important to me. And, but anyway, thank you so much for your time, guys. Hit that thumbs up, hit the bell, all that good stuff. That helps us out. And again, thank you for all the love and support over the years. And here's to just continuing that process and continuing to grow together as a family. And yeah, anyway, stay strong, guys. Stay blessed. Stay savage, guys. Peace and love.